actually have a master in theoretical physics from the University of Marseille. And after my physics master, I went for a PhD in neuroscience in Paris. I made really the switch directly from theoretical physics to neuroscience at some point. And then I kept on doing a few postdocs in Europe. I worked in Germany, I worked in Spain, and then arrived in CISA about like 4 or 5 years ago, where I was mostly working with Matthew Diamond and a bit Alessandro Treves as well. And then like very recently, actually, I joined David's group as a statistician, as the quantitative guy in the lab, let's say. So I would say that somehow I would define my goal as twofold. To understand exactly what my role is in this lab is, I think we have to really go back to what is being known as the crisis of reproducibility in psychology, and I think in neuroscience overall. We seem to really have a problem with that in the recent years, and basically it seems that many people incriminate statistics. The fact that many people actually are very good scientists, but do not necessarily handle very well statistics in some way, at least. And it's very easy to fool yourself in statistics. With statistics, there is like so much computational power and so many black boxes that you can use, so many just softwares to take your data, to just beat them with a baseball bat, and they will confess to anything if you really beat them enough. And unfortunately, it's very difficult, I think, for all scientists to be good at designing experiments, recording data, and also be extremely good at analyzing them and making sure they don't fool themselves. And somehow that's where I try to work in this lab, and to be the one who actually is really up to date with all the statistical techniques and all the pitfalls of statistics. And so it allows me to do two things. To first monitor what's happening in the lab, to advise also many of the students when they have a question of what kind of statistical test I should use. I did that, is it correct? And I check that. So I monitor what's happening in the lab to make sure that basically the risk of fooling ourselves is kept at the lowest possible. And also in addition to that, I also really try to train and to teach the students that in the future they become independent data analysts as well. So really when they design a data, when they design an experiment, they know really they can do everything from A to Z. Even if they don't do it personally, at least they know exactly what's happening at every stage of the research process. And that's very important to me, to make sure that these students here, or the postdocs even, really know from the beginning what they should do at every stage and know how to do it themselves, and are less prone to fooling themselves. That's essentially, these are like the two main roles I assume in this lab. I used to work in neuroscience. I worked in neuroscience for about 10 years, and at some point I had the feeling that what we needed in science may not be necessarily like more papers, but better papers, better research. And that's also what I'm trying to do in this lab. It's not necessarily to increase the quantity of papers, but really to increase the quality of papers, to make sure that basically everything that comes out of this lab is reliable, trustworthy, replicable, and useful for the global advances in science of this field. Make sure that what we do really has a positive contribution and is not noise, but really something, really signal in the end. This is really an important factor, really increasing the quality of the research, focusing more on the quality of the research rather than on the quantity.